like to call this meeting to order of the Charter Revision Commission in Fairfield and would ask our Administrator Prue to call the roll. Ms. O'Brien, are you there?
Yes, I'm sorry. I just had to unmute myself.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Okay, Marlene Batista?
Here.
Chris Brogan?
Present.
Brian Caffarelli?
Right here.
Jay Gross?
Here.
Pam Iacono?
Here.
John Matola?
I'm here.
John Nguyen?
Here.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. If we could just stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
United States of
and to
America,
the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now, the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes, and I just wanted to confer with our attorney, Mednick. Are we okay with approving the minutes from last week or the prior meeting?
Yeah, the minutes, I talked to Prue about this. The minutes were posted in accordance with the FOI, but they were not sent to the members of the commission. So my recommendation is that we pass on this item and that we approve this set of minutes and the minutes from tonight at our next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Can I, I'm looking for a motion to table the approval of the minutes until our next meeting.
So moved.
That was moved by.
Actually, I believe the correct motion is postponed to a date certain the next meeting.
Thank you very much. Would you like to make that motion?
Sure, I'd like to move to postpone the approval of the minutes until a date certain the next meeting.
Second.
I'll second.
All right, the motion has been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the overview of the charter revision process. And, you know, I'd like to thank all the members of the public that are on and those that are continuing to join. I think that the commission has decided that it would be helpful to briefly frame the charge of the commission and the process. And so the attorney who is advising the commission, Attorney Steve Mednick, is going to be giving a very brief overview of that charge and the process so that everyone understands it prior to us hearing from the public and the comments that they have. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Attorney Mednick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I will try to keep this as brief as possible because tonight is the night for the public to speak. But I'll try to do an overview. Does everybody see it? The PowerPoint on the screen? Good. Just want to make sure.
I do.
And I want to thank the members of the commission who helped put this together. I think they thought it was a worthwhile idea to give kind of an overview of this process. So we're going to start at the beginning. That the charter is your governing document. It's, for lack of a better term, your local constitution. It establishes the rules for governing the town, the functions of the town, and it also includes procedures that reflect the history and culture of the town of Fairfield. It sets forth the legislative functions in the adoption of ordinances, the financing of the government, oversight of the administration. Of course, you have a board of finance locally and a shared legislative function with an RTM, but it also establishes accountability for the chief executive officer of the community. And one thing I want to point out to the public is that the only two required provisions of the charter is the establishment of a legislative function and an executive function. Everything else is permitted under home rule, but not required under home rule. And so state statute provides for periodic update, provides for the creation of a charter and periodic update of the charter. You can actually do it every year. A lot of charters have provisions that require a 10-year review. Most of the times, if I'm dealing with a town that doesn't have one of those provisions, I urge them to place it in, particularly if you haven't done a charter for a long time. And in Fairfield, you're approaching the long time. Your last charter revision was 15 years ago in 2006. I'm not going to get into the rule of home rule, but we did post, I think, posted on our website, on the town website, somewhere is a review of the home rule, the law of home rule, which is very important for people to understand as we go through this process. There are things we can do and there are things we cannot do that we will go through as we proceed through the charter revision process. And so the objective in a charter revision is to, get the perspective of the public. Tonight's meeting is a required statutory public hearing. And so charter revisions start with a public hearing so that the commission can get the perspective of the residents and electors of the town at the very beginning of the process. You will see that the last thing the commission does before they send the document back to the Board of Selectmen is they have a second statutory public hearing, which is a required public hearing. And so what we expect to hear tonight is just a few examples. Does the budget work? Does the process work suitably for the town? Is there a healthy balance between the executive and legislative branches? Are there ways to increase public engagement? And we'll go into some of the more specific issues as we go through it. We then begin to analyze those issues in an objective way. One of the things that the commission will experience with working with me is as we go through some of the bigger issues, I try to put together panels of experts and panels of practitioners. The experts might be people from the academic world. They might be former public officials who have kept a hand in government and have a good reputation for knowing the limits and extents of the powers of local government. And we try to go through objectively to get the facts and discern the facts and try to apply those facts to the situation in Fairfield. But remember, Fairfield is a town that has operated for a very long period of time and has a culture. And as we go through the charter revision process, we try to marry law with culture to make sure that the will of the public and the traditions of the public are maintained in the best way possible with the best practices that may be available in 2021, 2022, and going forward. So we look at the town. What is the current charter? How does it look? We analyze it. We get community input. I'm sure the chair and other members of the commission will be open throughout this process for continued community input, either through email or there may be time set aside at various meetings of the commission as we go through the chapters of the documents. We expect to hear also new ideas tonight and throughout this entire process. And as we consider this, you're going to, like any other public process, look at the options. Do the options work? Are there trade-offs that need to be made in that process? And the objective, obviously, is improved governance. In those areas where there are issues of concern, can we do better? Can we create greater levels of accountability? And are there ways to reduce our risk as we go through the process? One of the things I always say to commissions is that you want to consider a charter that is clearly understood, charter that has flexibility, that allows for the greatest exchange and interchange of ideas between the public and the various governing authorities in the community. You want accountability. You want accountability between the various government officials, government entities, boards, commissions, the RTM, the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Finance, and the other boards in town. You want to also have a document that satisfies the public. So if the public understands the way the process works, they may understand and be able to better sign off on the work that is being done on its behalf by the government officials. And then you want to...
I'm not getting any sound.
It's on TV. I have it on the TV.
Oh, good.
All right. I thought there was a protester in the audience. And you want to avoid a culture of disregard or paralysis. You want to make sure that your charter is not so draconian or so specific that it doesn't give the people who are governing your community the ability to respond, the ability to react, the ability to act on your behalf. And that's really one of the major objectives of a good, strong charter. Some examples of issues that are charter issues: governance is a very clear example. It is the sine qua non of a charter revision process. Does your current form of government work? If it does, we move on to the next issue, or we address other issues. Does your budget process work in a way that is beneficial to the community? Do you have enough boards and commissions? Too many boards and commissions? Are they accessible to the public? Are they not accessible to the public? We will look at those types of issues through this process. Operations. How can the government, the administrative functions of the community be impacted by the charter? Are there negative things? Are there things that inhibit the ability of the administration to operate efficiently in accordance with best practices? Is there a best practice standard in your charters to keep moving forward with administrative processes that work in other communities and through some of the professional organizations that guide the professionals who work for your town? One issue that I've been asked to bring up under a charter issue may seem like an aside issue, but it is a provision in your charter. If you take a look at the cover of this report, and I think maybe the cover of many of the local documents, you have a town seal. And I think the first selectman might be interested in taking a look at whether or not we want to modify or change the town seal. And so I will be asking the commission, perhaps at its next meeting, to think about it and see if we could set up a parallel process, because it's not a legal process per se. It's going to be more of an artistic process to see if there may be a way, while we're doing the charter revision, to create a parallel process for changing the seal of the town of Fairfield. But I'll give you an example of non-charter issues. The post-road traffic lights are not in sequence. That's not an issue that you want to deal with in a charter. Leash laws on the beach, budget allocations for any of the departments, whether it's the library, which is the example we have in this document, or any other department, planning and zoning issues that are should be before the planning board or the planning commission in your town, shouldn't be issues that come before the charter commission. If there's a structural issue with the planning board, that would be a charter issue. But the issues that would normally come before that kind of board are not charter revision issues. What we'll do in the end result, the objective is to come out with a document that will pass muster at the commission, be approved by the Board of Selectmen, and when we get to that process, again, I told you we have a public hearing at the end of the commission process. The Board of Selectmen will also have a public hearing during their process, and they can then approve the document and not send it back to the commission in whole or in part as a result of their public hearing. Or if they have a series of questions, they can send those questions back to the commission, and the commission gets another go around on trying to resolve those issues alone. But once the charter is ultimately passed, if it is passed by the Board of Selectmen, it then goes to the ballot. I think we're probably aiming for the ballot in November of 2022. And the Board of Selectmen would make the decision, not the commission. The Board of Selectmen would decide how many questions would go on the ballot. And there's no way to know that today, because we don't know what the issues are that we're going to be addressing in this process. And it goes to the Secretary of State's office about 60 days, early September, before the primary, before the referendum, and then would be subject to approval at the referendum in November of 2022. So, summarize the process. We have formed this commission. The commission has been named. We're now going through the information gathering process, which begins with a public hearing. We're going to try to get as much constituent input in this process as possible. You're going to see in the next few weeks, we're going to be meeting with department heads. The town attorney and I, at some point, will be sitting down with the commission and walking through the document, something I call a red line session where we actually familiarize ourselves with the document. The town attorney and hopefully the department heads in the next week or so will probably point out some of the problem areas that should be fixed, that should be looked at carefully. Again, there will be public feedback throughout the process, and other stakeholders will be included in the process. As part of the analytical approach, I talked about the expert panels we're going to put together, but I also believe just as important as the experts are the practitioners. So you will see panels comprised of people of all parties, of all political stripes, and from all different structures of government to give input on how they're operating. For example, if we want to look at the budget process, I would bring in experts from similarly situated towns to get their views on how this charter works and how other charters work throughout the state. And then, of course, before the final document is approved, there will be an evaluation of the benefits and the implications, and hopefully an avoidance of unintended consequences. Been very lucky with the charters I've done. We've not had too many unintended consequences in the 25 or 30 years since I've been doing charter revisions around the state of Connecticut. Again, you've met the members through the roll call. We've talked about the information sources. I always work closely with the town attorney. I've done charters throughout the state of Connecticut, and I never presume that my ideas of what would be good in a charter is right for a community. I try to advise on the basis of experience throughout the state. We'll provide the commission with a lot of comparative data, but ultimately this is your charter, and understanding the folkways of your town and the traditions of your town is something that I will work with each of the commissioners and other folks in town to make sure that we tailor any revisions to serve the best interests of this community and not try to impose the Mednick Town charter for the town of Fairfield. That's of no interest to anybody but me in terms of what I think the perfect charter is. And just give you a sense of the timing, we were formed in September. We're now going through some of these background hearings, background meetings to gather information. About 3 or 4 sessions from now, after we're done with the input from public sessions, department heads, the red line sessions, and meeting with elected officials in early November, the commission will then convene, go through all the information, and begin to lay out or chart out the process by which they will be conducting their work through April of 2022, roughly. And then we get into May, and that's when they have to approve it. They'll be under a fairly strict timeline once they give it to the Board of Selectmen. And it could be done as early as the end of June or early July if the Board of Selectmen do not return it, but it could go through mid-July and early August if there's back and forth between the Charter Commission and the Board of Selectmen. That is my proposal, and I hope it was clear, and I hope that it will inspire you to give us some outstanding testimony this evening. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Attorney Mednick. That was great. We're very lucky to have you on that last slide or the one before it, kind of outline all the functions that you're going to serve in facilitating and counseling and advising this commission, and I think it's invaluable. You're humble, but your reputation is excellent, and certainly you have a ton of experience throughout the state and in charter revisions in this area of the law. So we're grateful to have you, and look forward to the meetings going forward. I'd be remiss if I didn't also recognize Prue O'Brien, who is helping with all the, a lot of the administrative functions of this commission, which is really takes a lot of work. So thank you to her as well. To go into the heart of our meeting tonight, just a few comments. We've received some emails from the public already. We welcome those emails. There is a dedicated email address for the commission, which is an easy one, I think, crc@fairfieldct.org. That's found on our website. And just, so those emails will be cataloged and reviewed by the commission at a later public meeting and incorporated much the same as these comments that we received tonight. So they will be, thank you for sending them in, and just wanted to acknowledge that. As far as the public comment, if you do have a comment, if you could request to make so or speak in the chat to be recognized, you'll be recognized in the order that the administrator receives that and be called on. I would kindly ask that you state your name and address for our record, and that we're going to limit comments tonight to 3 minutes so that we can hear from everyone. We do have a pretty healthy audience, and I'm happy to see that. Looks like we're nearing about 100 people so far. And commission members are free to ask clarifying questions. Just I ask that it goes through me, the chair, so we keep some order to those who are making public comment. And then at the end of the meeting, we'll be setting forth the schedule for the rest of the year. But with that, let's go to the public comment. So Prue, do we have our first person?
Yes, it is Jane Stevens. Jane, do you know how, let me see if I can unmute you. Okay, what I'm going to do is, if you wouldn't mind, please to do *6 to unmute yourself when you're called on, please. So Jean, if you want to speak now. Okay, you're unmuted now, Jean. But, okay, is your audio connected? Because we still can't hear you. Okay, I think we can hear you now. Oh, no. Okay,
How
I'm
about
going to
this?
go to...
Can you hear me now?
I hear
Yes.
you, yes. Please go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, my name is Jean Stevens. I live at 71 Old Mill Road. I've been a resident of Fairfield since 1988. I'm a retired public school teacher, having taught U.S. history and American government for many years. I'm also a member of the Untitled Chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution here in Fairfield. I'm speaking to you today because of an urgent need that can be alleviated by a change to our town's charter. And I'd like to read into the record a public comment that I submitted today. To mark the 100th anniversary of the burning of Fairfield by British troops during the Revolutionary War in July 1779, a centennial commission was established to acknowledge the local and national significance of our town in the fight for independence. Part of these observances were held at the old burying ground on Beach Road, where many revolutionary patriots and town mothers and fathers are buried. In fact, a survey of the old burying ground had been done by Kate Perry, who recorded the inscriptions of the 583 stones that were still visible. She wrote of broken stones moss-covered inscriptions, and the neglected tombs of our ancestors. Among those stones are a Revolutionary War general, 2 colonels, both of whom died in service, captains, privates, government leaders, and a key member of Washington's spy ring, as well as many ordinary citizens who, after the town was almost completely destroyed by the British, worked to rebuild it. These ancestors deserve our thanks and our respect. Members of the commission, please walk through the old burying ground on Beach Road, just a short walk from Town Hall, to see for yourselves its condition. You will see 60 American flags marking the graves of Revolutionary patriots. And on Saturday, October 9th, members of the Untitled Chapter will be cleaning those stones. Our old historic burying ground is in a general state of disrepair, again neglected, with moss-covered broken walls and many broken fallen stones. Efforts over the years have been laudable but ineffective in maintaining this cemetery, as well as the other historic cemeteries in town. What is needed is a town cemetery committee with members appointed by the selectmen with the charge of overseeing maintenance and restoration. Many towns in Connecticut and across our nation have been doing so in order to preserve their history. I urge the commission to add such a group to its proposed town charter revision. We need to preserve our town's history before it slips away. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Stevens, for your comments. They will be noted, and I let's say I've actually been to that cemetery and would encourage the others to go as well if they have not. So thank you for your comments. Do any of the commission members have any questions for Ms. Stevens? Okay, thanks again for your comments. Prue, can we go to the next person, please?
Yes, the next person is Matthew Halleck.
Hi, my name is Matthew Halleck. I live at 6 Somerville Street in Fairfield. And first, I want to thank all the members of the commission, everybody, for all your hard work and for doing this for this town that we love so much. And I am appreciative and grateful for all your work. Thank you. I find it interesting, and I was just doing some research and reading about it. And I was reading the National Civic League puts out the Model City Charter that they've been publishing for over 100 years. They've had 8 editions now. The last one was 2011. And I'm wondering, it's really interesting, and it's thousands of municipalities across the country adopt it and look at its thought leadership and best practices. Can we make this required reading for all members of the commission to look at that? It's really enlightening, and there's a lot of stuff that I think we can look at. I'll actually PDF it in the chat. There's a link there that we can, if we want to take a look at it. But I just think it would help us a lot if everybody who's involved could read that and look at what's going on. And Steve, you can contribute. Maybe it's already part of the curriculum.
Okay.
It's a document that I'm familiar with, and I think everybody should take a look at it. It's useful. It's a really good document.
Executive bodies, to marry the culture with the law, which is very interesting because the Model City Charter talks a lot about that and marrying culture with the law, and specifically 2 areas of major concern here in Fairfield, and that's land use development and environmental concerns, which are obviously front burner issues across the country. And so without getting into the budget of the library or the traffic lights on Post Road or anything like that, are there ways that we can really address, land use development and environmental concerns that we have here in Fairfield, marrying them into the charter, like the Model City Charter does recommend? And one thought I had on that was really looking at that was really a preamble or a preface to the whole charter. And I'm wondering if anything, some towns and cities do have that, and it can be very valuable. It sets a tone for what we're trying to do and what we're all about here in Fairfield. And I'm wondering if there's any open minds to that, to writing a preamble or writing a preface to the whole city charter. And the other thing I wanted to really talk about, and you sort of touch on it a little bit in your PowerPoint, was really the transparency. You know, this is an era now where we have access to everything, so that's the internet. And I really strongly feel I would like to see a lot more transparency in the town with everything going on, even creating a new office if we need to, an office of the people or a citizens board who have really the power to see all the communication from elected, appointed officials, correspondence, notes, transcripts, the things that are important to us, the citizens, you know, decisions and funding the hires. There's still a lot too much going on with the smoke-filled room and closed doors that we as the citizens are not privy to. And I think we need to be proactive in putting a stop to that. So I would like to really empower us, the citizens of Fairfield, much, much more strongly to what's going on with that, whether it is the establishment of an office of the people or some sort of citizens board to really look on that. So I'd like your thoughts on that.
Okay, well, I appreciate those comments and thank you for sharing that document with us. I'm sure, you know, we will have more public input as this process goes forward, as Attorney Bendick did, you know, highlight in his presentation. And if you have further thoughts, please, you know, participate when those meetings come up, or in the meantime, you can always send an email to follow up with additional thoughts. At this point, I'll entertain any questions from commission members for Mr. Halleck.
Brian?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes, John.
Thank you. It's not really a question, it's just maybe a comment and a request. Is there any way that, I know you shared the link, but can we have maybe Pro send that link through an email to all commission members, and that way we can access it? That's possible.
If Prue can do that, I think, yeah. I think
I'll send the link to
do that, yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Mr. Halleck, thank you. That's it. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, John. Pam, did you have something that you wanted to say?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That was exactly what I was going to say. Could he, Mr. Halleck, please email it to the commission?
Okay, great.
Absolutely. Thanks, Pam.
Any other commission members? Okay, Prue, the next person, please.
Okay, so the next person, I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly, is Sarah Kite.
Hi, it's actually Sarah Kitt.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'm at 538 Winnipogue Drive here in Fairfield. And I agree that we do need to look at our town charter, and we need to look at our boards and our commissions. However, to follow on what Mr. Halleck was saying about transparency, I'm concerned that the Charter Commission, as it's turned up, consists of 3 people who are on the Strategic Planning Committee that made the suggestion for the charter review. And it's not a personal thing, it's not a political thing. These people, there's a Republican, a Democrat, and unaffiliated. And I don't know these people personally. But in the interest of transparency, I feel strongly, starting out, that those 3 people should be made ex officio members of the commission so they can advise and provide background. But you really do need 3 new sets of eyes and opinions on this as you move forward. That's all I would like to say.
Okay, I appreciate your comments. Anyone have any questions for Mrs. I'm going to get it wrong, and I just heard it. Kite. Kit. I apologize.
It's okay.
Well, thank you for joining us this evening. I see no questions. So, Prue, if we could have the next member of the public that would like to comment.
Okay, the next person is Ed Bateson.
Hi, am I on?
Mr. Bateson.
Yes.
Hey, Brian, congratulations on chairman. Congratulations on all the other commissioners being appointed. I look forward to this process. I think you got off to a great start by retaining counsel for this. I think this is my 3rd charter revision I've witnessed, and I believe this is the first time we've ever taken that route. And I think I took a look at his resume and his past experience. I think that's a great addition to this, and I welcome him to the process. I imagine being as current, my address, 2195 North Street. Having several years of experience in elected office. I'm only going to say a couple brief things tonight. I imagine you're going to follow up with input from elected officials, and I'll look forward, and I'll get into more detail about what I'd like to see. I know that you guys have your hands full. There's a lot of things that need to be addressed in this charter. I mean, I've been in Supreme Court twice. There's stuff in there that is just needs to be addressed. We have a wealth of knowledge in this town that can help do it. I look forward to anything you guys bring to the table. I will say that serving an elected office, I would like to see us have an open mind when you guys look at the charter, that maybe you can pull stuff out of the charter and recommend it go into the town code so that it's easier for elected bodies to handle it. Maybe that's something you can look at, because I know years ago when Jim Walsh and I worked on the pension ordinance, you know, that was in the town code, and we wound up working on that. So there's bits and pieces that are scattered throughout both documents. Maybe, you know, take a holistic view of everything and maybe see what needs you could pull out of the charter and put in there so that it's easier to maintain, because we all know that charter revision comes along once in a blue moon. And how many times have we had public comment in meetings saying, well, we'll take care of this in charter revision? I've heard that a lot of times in the past 15 years. So I would also like to say, I'm anxious to see where you guys land on certain things. As an elected official, I will say, at the 50,000 foot level, I think there's a lot of government here. What I found is dealing with constituents over the years, you got a problem with the golf course, you got a problem with the marina, you got this. I'm dealing with unelected people on appointed boards and commissions. I think with the taxpayer, the frustration that I would see from them, they want accountability. They don't want to talk to somebody that's been appointed to a board that really has no, I'm not going to say skin in the game, but there's no accountability. You know, I want to be able to go to somebody if I have a grievance with government, have them address it. And if I'm not happy with it, vote them out of office. I just think that we really need to see more of that. There's a lot of boards and commissions that have developed since the 1950s. I think we need to take a look at that, streamline it, get department heads more accountable to reporting to the administration. And you know, that's my 2 cents on, if I was sitting in your shoes, what I would like to see. Streamline it, more accountability, more transparency. That's all I got for now. I look forward to if you guys follow up with the RTM or other boards where elected officials can give their more detailed input. And good luck tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. And we do plan on following up with elected officials. So, and I appreciate your comments and look forward to hearing more from you.
All right, I'll talk to you. Thank you, guys.
Does anyone, I don't know if any commission members have a question for you, if you have a minute to, I don't know, to engage. Does any member of the commission have a question for Mr. Bateson? All right, then Ed, well, have a good night and thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
Drew, do we have another member of the public that wishes to comment?
William Gerber?
Yeah, hi. Here, I'm going to try to put on my video.
Good evening, Mr. Gerber.
Hey, Brian. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm on the RTM, and I just wanted to make a statement about, again, like Sarah Kitt. As an RTM member, you know, I got to hear some presentations from the Strategic Planning Committee, and I also got to hear some of the RTM, you know, members' responses to the presentations that they made to one of our subcommittees. And you know, and reading the strategic plan, it's pretty clear that, you know, the leadership of the Strategic Planning Committee wants to do away with the RTM and transition to a different form of government. And there are some members of, and I would say, you know, of the RTM that would like to do that as well. And I think that view is pretty strongly represented on this Charter Review Committee. So I think starting off, there's at least 3, maybe 4 members that are really looking to do away with the RTM, transition to a completely different form of government. So I'm concerned that starting off on that foot, I mean, that's a lot more than the types of things that over the years, the problems I've seen in the charter. that I would like to get fixed. I think, you know, there are many things, people have made some great comments, things they'd like to see, but I think people need to be aware that at least several members of this committee have already sort of made it clear this is more than just, you know, making things that exist more efficient. This is probably doing away with generations of people's experience with town government. And you know, personally, as an RTM member, the people that made those conclusions that are now on this committee have been appointed to this committee. I disagreed with the way those conclusions in the strategic plan. I don't think they were appropriately formulated, and that I don't believe that that some of those conclusions were, you know, that people were properly polled in a fair manner. So I'm very concerned that this is more than most people in the public understand what is actually going on here. And I wanted to make that clear that I sort of object to the fact that it feels a little bit stacked from day one, but the commission, and I do hope that people's minds change, but I do think that they're probably not going to be. So I'm sort of lodging my objection to begin with.
Okay, well, Mr. Gerber, I appreciate that, and you know, I would like to say the purpose of tonight is really to receive comments on the substance of charter revision, you know, the actual charter, the document itself, and how the public wants to see the government shaped or reshaped rather in town.
Well, what I'm saying is that we have a strategic plan that has an action item to actually get rid of the RTM and reshape the government, and the people that created that plan are on this committee, so we can expect to see that.
There are, you know, there's a variety of people, all 7 individuals on this commission have agreed to enter it with an open mind. We're going to be going through it line by line in a very public manner with, I think, a very skilled facilitator. And there will be nothing is predetermined in this process whatsoever. I can assure you of that. And, you know, and we will prove that to you throughout this process. So
good. Thank you.
I hear your comments, and to those, you know, I would just ask to the rest of the public comments that if we could try and frame the comments to the substance of the town charter, the town government, and not about the makeup of the commission tonight, which was more appropriate at another meeting. But I do appreciate you taking the time to be here. I hear your comments, but I can promise you that each and every one of the commission members has agreed to approach this with an open mind, and nothing is predetermined in this process. It's the very beginning, and it will be a very public and transparent process. I promise you that. We will have as much public input as necessary, and, you know, want to get off on the right foot. So thank you, and I do appreciate you taking the time to be here.
Thank you.
Prue, do you have the next
Yes.
member of the public?
Jen Jacobson.
Hi, everyone. It's Jen Jacobson. Glad that we're all here tonight talking about this really important matter. I know there'll be plenty of opportunity going forward to provide more input, but just for tonight, I wanted to lend 2 initial thoughts out of the gate to you. The first one is more of a maintenance item. One is more of a change item possibly, but the maintenance item is that in our town charter now, our town charter holds a very important principle that I think is important to maintain. We have 10 voting districts as we right now in Fairfield, and our town charter for those voting districts holds a principle that they are very close in size and that each of our districts have equal representation. We are a large town. We have a lot of different neighborhoods in our town. And I think it's critically important as we go forward to all of Fairfielders that we maintain those voices from the diversity of our areas of town. So that is one thought that I leave you with tonight. The second one is, and not making specific recommendations right now, but in section 12.8 on purchasing authority, I know that there has been some initial conversations and ideas about how purchasing authority is working right now, but I would lend my voice to looking at that section as well. So for tonight, those are my 2 thoughts. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Do any commission members have any questions regarding those comments? Thank you once again for taking the time. It is appreciated that you came. Ms. O'Brien, do we have another member of the public that wishes to comment?
Kathy Braun has a question.
Thank you. Ms. Braun?
Hi, thanks. I jumped in a little late, so I might have missed something you covered, but will you be holding more public hearings or meetings after tonight, like during the process? So as we learn what's being covered, we can be heard from other than just by a letter?
Yes, we will. So we are required by law to have one more, but I do, I believe that the board envisions more public hearings. I am certainly in favor of them, and we will have them throughout the process to the extent possible. And Attorney Mednick, can you weigh in on that process? I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn in the sense that we haven't voted on it yet, but it is my intention to put forth a motion to have more public meetings.
As I said at the beginning of the meeting, and I realize Ms. Braun was not here, we have the 2 statutory required hearings, but most of the commissions I work with conduct public input throughout the process. Best example would be if you're dealing with a major issue, whether it's the budget, the form of government, those types of issues where we're going to look at substantial chapters to make significant change. It would behoove the commission to hear further input as they begin to formulate their ideas so that they don't get bombarded with opposition or concern at the end of the process. So I think my normal advice to the commission is that you consider bringing the public in throughout the process as warranted by the magnitude of the issue. And I imagine the chair and members of the commission will see correspondence, and if there's an issue that is being raised that is not before the commission, I imagine they could be motivated to conduct a public meeting to examine something that they have not thought about that comes up randomly in this process.
Thank you so much. That's very helpful. I have one substantive comment.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Okay, thanks. I'm on the zoning commission now, and for the last 20 years or so, I've been active in environmental protection issues as a lawyer, as a private lawyer. So my biggest concerns are, number one, that we never try to combine the conservation department into the zoning department or break it up and farm its job out to other departments. I have no idea if that will come up, but I'm just putting my 2 cents in. They do support 3 commissions: shellfish, wetlands, and conservation. And the conservation department also runs a bunch of programs like marsh restoration, open space, and they support harbor management, although not officially. They also are our advocate with the DEP in Hartford and even the EPA. So the conservation department is very important. Both the conservation department and the zoning department took pretty big staffing hits in this year's budget. And I would hope that anything this Charter Revision Commission does would help strengthen each department so that they can do the important work they're doing, because we're only going to get more and more inundated with development pressure, and we need to have departments that are capable of handling all that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Braun. Does any member of the commission have questions regarding those comments? Maybe I don't see everyone.
I'm sorry.
Attorney Mednick, or you? I actually can't see all of you. So
Yeah, can I just add one point? It's not a question, but again, I'm amending my answer, and that is that, like tonight, all meetings of the commission are open to the public for public observation. They'll be broadcast, they'll be recorded, minutes will be promulgated, so the commission will be operating fully within public view, in addition to any further input in this process.
Thank you. Are there other members of the commission that have a question? You're gonna just have to speak up because I guess not. So let's go to our next member of the public, please.
Okay, so I'm not sure, Carlisle Spivey, do you have a question, or were you just making a comment in the chat?
I was just making a comment in the chat.
Okay. All right, and Laura Carson?
just a comment in the chat. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Okay, so Carolyn Trabucco?
Carolyn?
There we go. Sorry. Hi, everyone.
Oh,
Good evening. Good
Thanks
evening.
for joining us.
Thank you. I serve as the chair of the JRIB, the Joint Retirement Investment Board, which is the joint boards between the town employee retirement fund and the police and fire pension fund. And having looked at the town charter and the town code, there are areas where they are not at all in harmony. There are areas where they are in conflict. You'll find that the town charter mentions the police and fire pension, but it isn't until we're in the town code that you get the balance of the retirement system. And so when you go through your review, I'd encourage you to please take a close look at that, perhaps include some of us from the JRIB so that we can harmonize the two, please.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Does any member of the commission have questions? Attorney Mednick?
Sorry, a point of information for the speaker. I'm sure Jim Baldwin would know the answer to this, but if you have an attorney who works with your pension board, I assume you have outside counsel or you work with the town attorney, it might be useful to have them get in touch with us so we could look at the issue, because it's a technical issue that probably should be looked at, but it would be useful to have somebody who works with the pension day to day.
Absolutely, and I'm happy to say that it was a town attorney, Baldwin, who pointed out where the conflict was.
Well, then I was right. He knows. Okay.
Okay. Oh, good. All right. Well, thanks again for your comments. If no other member of the commission has any questions, so Prue, do we have another member of the public that wishes to comment?
I do. Elizabeth Zazima?
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. I'm Elizabeth Zezima. I live at 160 Fairfield Woods Road. I am also a member of the RTM from District 4. Excuse me, I have been asked to read a statement by a member of the public who was unable to connect, just difficulty with the system. Before I read that, though, I would just like to echo what's been said and strongly speak in favor of our representative government and the importance of the RTM in creating what I think is the appropriate system for appropriate representation of all members of the public, citizens, residents, taxpayers. So Prue, I don't know if there is a time limit for the statements, but I will begin.
It is 3 minutes.
Okay, well, I'll do my best. So this is from Judy Ewing, a longtime resident of Fairfield, active in all local matters, and has herself sat on charter review committees. So, quote, I moved to Fairfield from a small town in upstate New York in 1970. I was encouraged to run for the RTM in 1971. I was very pleased to find a small town atmosphere where people were welcomed immediately and invited to participate. The town has maintained its small town charm, and I have met so many wonderful citizens who have given so freely of their time serving our town as volunteers. Therefore, I would not want to change the structure of our government, but agree that we should review the charter language for clarification from time to time. As someone who has been involved in town government since 1971 and has served on 2 charter revision committees and has copies of charter proposals dated 1982, 85, 92, 97, and 2006, I have some idea of most of the charter issues that have been discussed in the past, except in quote, in parentheses, we cannot change the Board of Finance. Now that Fairfield has dropped the indoor mask requirement, I would like to recommend that the committee offer 2 additional options for all meetings: public meetings with the public present and live meetings on FairTV. More options will allow more citizens to be fully informed. Following list of suggestions for revisions as follows. 1, although an index was recently added, I would strongly urge a cross-referencing index because the subject matter is often discussed in more than one place and is only useful if all pertinent references are read together. An example of this is the language about appointing and dismissing full-time employees. Section 6.3, vacancies on the Board of Selectmen. There was confusion about the charter language and the Connecticut statute. Suggestion: eliminate the charter language and refer to the Connecticut statute. 3, Section 13.2.f, manner of holding referendum is confusing to most and needs clarification as to what is required to pass a referendum. 4, the current Board of Ed terms of service has come under criticism because it could result in too many inexperienced members being elected at any one time. Suggestion: return to the 6-year term. 5, Section 2.3.d, commencement date of terms of elected office and the RTM. The swearing-in ceremony has traditionally been held the third Monday in November. There has been some confusion about this, but to do otherwise would be in conflict with Section 4.4.a, which states that the organization meeting of the RTM members shall be held on the fourth Monday in November each year. Again, cross-referencing is needed here. 6, look through the town code to determine if any item should receive charter status. And lastly, 7, all cross-references to Connecticut statutes should be checked for changes in numbering and/or language since 2006.
Okay, well, I thank you for being here. I thank Miss Ewing for her many years of service and the charter revisions that she has gone through. So it sounds like she has a wealth of knowledge. Is there a way that you can forward that email to the commission so we have it if Miss Ewing hasn't submitted it already?
I will make sure.
I actually have that.
Okay, great.
Oh, good, great. Thank you. And thank
So
you, Kitty, and congratulations, Brian.
Okay, thank you, Liz. It's good to see you. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, thanks again for joining us. Have a good evening. Prue, are there any other members of the public that wish to comment?
I do not have any other requests.
Oh, it looks like
Oh,
one
wait,
just
Laura
came in.
Devlin would like to comment.
Hi, can I speak now?
Yes, Representative Devlin. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, well, no, thank you. And I'm joining you both as a longtime resident of our town and also as state rep. But I've listened to the comments tonight, and in my professional career, one of the things that I'm, very familiar with is that there is always fear going into any review and potential change process. And I just find what's really admirable and what I really appreciate that the first select woman has established this commission for the very reason that we do have a transparent process that the public can weigh in on and be part of it along the way. Just one kind of question of confirmation, because somebody did make a comment about, recordings and access, but it is my understanding that as with other commissions and boards throughout the town, the minutes will be published, meetings will be accessible, etc. Is that correct?
That is correct, Representative. I mean, I will defer to Attorney Mednick to just clarify that, but we are following all the rules that the other boards and commissions do in town.
Great. I think we've come a long way in terms of transparency with our community, and I'll be flat honest. It's been probably a year and a half since I have deeply gone through the charter, but I will take the time to go through it again and come back to you with some specific recommendations as well. But I want to thank everybody who has been appointed for the work ahead of you and for this meeting tonight. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you again, Representative, and thank you for pointing that out. We do, all the minutes will be posted, the meetings will be noticed. We will have as much public input as possible through meetings like these, or as I said earlier, we do have an email that will go to all the commission members and be cataloged and reviewed on a basis within a public meeting and incorporated into public comments similar to those that we're receiving tonight. So that is the goal: transparency, input from the public, and we'll do everything that we can to do that. We are in good hands. With Attorney Mednick, who has been through this on many occasions and is counseling us to make sure that we are, using all the best practices to get to that point. And so I don't want to speak for you, Steve. If you have anything to add, please do so.
No, but I will point out, as probably the chair knows, working in the Senate and as the state representative knows, we're operating also under some new public meeting laws that are in effect through next April. And we're going to be in complete compliance with those with respect to the remote meetings protocols as well. And I would also point out to the state representative that if the commission approves the schedule as currently laid out, there will be a session sometime in November. There may be a problem with the date that we have there, but keep your eyes open. There will be a date sometime in November for elected officials to speak again on the charter. So you can,
Brian?
you can read the charter at your leisure, but sometime in November, there'll be an opportunity.
Yes, I hear someone. I don't know who it is. So
Yes, Brian, it's John Wynn.
hey, John.
Yes,
please proceed.
just in the interest of keeping everyone informed, the town has put a charter revision webpage up on accessible through the town website. We will try and keep it updated with announcements. The agendas and minutes will be posted up there as documents are created and presented to the public. We're going to try and keep that those documents available on that web presence as well. So everyone, if you jump into the process later on, you can find the documents that were talked about and utilize them as we go forward.
Thanks, John. Thanks for pointing that out. And for those, the slide deck, the presentation that Attorney Mednick made at the beginning has already been put up on the website. So you can go back and refer to that as well as other information that it is already populated with and will continue to be so throughout this process. So thanks. I think we have another member of the comment who put their name in the chat, Mrs. Wackerman.
Well, actually, before that, we have Selectwoman Lefkowitz would like to make a comment.
I apologize for not yielding. You know what? I shouldn't have done that. I'm not keeping track so well of who's in line. So I'm glad to be joined by Selectwoman Lefkowitz.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the commission members. I'll just be brief in my comments as I did have the opportunity to talk about this commission around the Board of Selectmen table. I do want to thank you all for your work and the undertaking. And I also just want to say how encouraging it is that on a random Wednesday night, 86 people from the public, 80 some odd people have called in. And really my comment, I'm just going to echo, although it is slightly off the specific agenda, but just to say that the lack of diverse voices on this commission is a concern, and that I hope that you will take into account the racial equity and justice lens as you are making your comments and recommendations. And I understand that the public will have plenty of opportunity to weigh in, but for the record, I just wanted to state that as something I hope you will very seriously take into consideration for all voices in Fairfield.
Certainly.
Thank you. These are my comments.
Thank you. And certainly, and thank you very much for those comments. Does any member of the commission have a question for Selectwoman Lefkowitz?
And I'm sorry, for the record, Nancy Lefkowitz, Selectwoman, Reading Road in Fairfield. I apologize.
Thank you. Thanks again for joining us, Nancy. Prue, is there another member of the public that wishes to comment?
Yes, I have Karen Wackerman now.
Please.
Hi.
Good
thank
evening.
you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for letting me speak, and thank you to the commission. I know this is going to be a big job and very time consuming. Thank you for doing it. I wanted to respond to a comment earlier about all the unelected people working on various boards. I actually think that that's one of the beautiful things in Fairfield, that we have so many volunteers, so many people involved, civically engaged. And I think it makes for a very open and transparent, maybe not the most efficient, but I think the benefits of the openness and transparency and engagement far outweigh any benefits of a smaller government. So I just wanted to put those 2 cents in, and also to echo what Representative Gerber and Ms. Kitt said, that I do have concerns that, and again, this is not personal at all to anybody, but that there's at least 3 members who presumably are coming into this already wanting to
Point of
change.
order,
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I
No,
believe you
no
already
point.
shut that down.
This, it's a part of the discussion because it has to do with what the form of government will be, and I'm just really begging that everybody keep a very open mind.
Thank you for joining us, Ms. Markman. Prue,
Okay.
do we have another member of the public that wishes to speak?
Yes, I have 3 more on here so far. The next person, Eve Darcy, asked for Patrick Burheen.
Burheny.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Okay, thank you.
Uncommon name. My name is Patrick Burheny. Live at 827 Riverside Drive here in Fairfield. I do appreciate the opportunity to speak to you, and
thanks for joining us.
Commend you all for taking on this task. I wanted to just say, somebody earlier had said the need. I hope the charter not only affirms but strengthens an independent conservation department. I have to say at present, the present town government, I don't feel that it values the independence of the conservation department. And for me, the conservation department represents my interest against development. And you have to have development, but it has to be countered. And if you weaken that independence, I worry that what makes Fairfield attractive to developers and the people wanting to move in will be destroyed by the development. And I remember back when the Fairfield Metro Station was in the process of being built, and town government bypassed the conservation department to accommodate the developer. And it turned out to be a big mistake. It made the process drag on much longer, and the project, to my mind, never became what they wanted it to be. So I think in the long run, we benefit from the independence of the conservation department. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for your comments. I appreciate that, and would entertain any questions from other members of the commission if they have any. Well, thanks again for joining us. Prue, do we have another member of the public who wishes to speak?
We do. Carrie Langerman.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi, my name is Carrie Langerman. I'm on 1506 Burr Street, District 1. I first want to thank everyone here, especially this is a huge undertaking. I'm just so appreciative that people have the time and are willing to step up and put the effort into this. I wanted to know if, I just want to better understand how the process that this committee will be undertaking to ensure that the charter is equitable and representative of all Fairfield residents. I am, of course, interested in the 1 in 5 residents whose identities are not represented on this panel. I'm just here to learn, to listen, and to sort of see if there are some specificities about this process that we can all sort of understand and be able to, feel good about having a specific type of people putting this charter together and how our voices will be heard.
Okay, well, I appreciate your comments. This is really not a question and answer session for the board. I will tell you that all 7 members of the commission are residents of Fairfield who have a vested interest in the community, who come from, I think, very different walks of life and backgrounds that will put their heads together to listen to the public and to consider all the options that are out there on the table. So, this is part of the process to make sure it is equitable and that everyone is represented, is hearing from their voices. And thank you for your recognition. It is a big undertaking. All 7 people here are volunteering, and they've outlined the meeting schedule, which is on a conservative basis to end in May. So there's going to be a lot of time and a lot of thought and a lot of effort and a lot of input put into this. And I certainly don't think that any aspect or any member of the community will be left out. So I continue to engage I wish that I hope that you continue to stay engaged. Got a little tripped up here. And you can do so at our public hearings, through the email, and to stay abreast of all the meetings, as they will be on FairTV. You can log on to them, and the minutes will be available. So thank you for your comments.
Awesome. Thank you. I look forward to learning more.
Okay. Prue?
Okay, the next person is Representative Krista McCarthy-Vahey.
Representative McCarthy-Vahey, it's good to hear from you, to see you. Good evening.
Good evening, Chairman Caffarelli. It's nice to see you as well, and I look forward to seeing you in person. Allow me to begin by thanking all of you for your service to the town in such a critical job, and I look forward to participating in this process in whatever way can be helpful to the commission. Much as we are at the state capitol, and I know our first select woman, our Board of Education, and many others struggling with the challenges of COVID as it pertains to how we meet, whether it is online, in person, or in hybrid fashion. And I know that you will be voting on your schedule at the meeting, and that our facilities are limited. And just to reference Attorney Bednick's reference in terms of the April 30th law that we had passed that would allow for the hybrid meetings to not just be telephonic, but also in this format that we had during COVID. We will then be moving to certain bodies requiring hybrid. So my request today is that as you consider your schedule, as it allows, and if you are able to have the opportunities, I believe it was Ms. Ewing had also requested for some of those in-person meetings. I think it would be really helpful for the process. I know I'm trying to work on that in my capacity in Hartford as well for some of our meetings, but that is my request of you. If you're able to do so, it would be most appreciated. And again, thank you all for your service.
Okay, great. Certainly, we'll explore those options. Again, we're kind of just getting started and getting our feet underneath us in terms of, we've had one brief organizational meeting, and tonight we're going to discuss the schedule, and we'll take that into consideration. And we are only setting the schedule for the rest of this year, but as I indicated to the last individual, we're planning to go well into May. So there's going to be many opportunities, I should hope, to change that at some point to an in-person meeting. Any other comments, Attorney Mednick, from the other members of the commission regarding that?
Hi, this is Drew Georgiadis, Chairman Caffarelli.
Hold on 1 second. I was asking for other members of the commission. So if you are the next, is Prue is
yes.
Okay.
Ms. Georgiadis is the next person.
Okay. Well then welcome, and please go ahead with your comments.
Sure. Drew Georgiadis, 321 Puritan Road, District 9. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, members of the commission. I wanted, as a member of the RTM, I would like to point out, follow up on Mr. Bateson's comment and Mrs. Wackerman's comment regarding commissions and elected officials. Both are such important parts of our community. Many people who agree to be on commissions don't have time to run for office, campaign, as well as some people who actually are on the ballot don't have to do much campaigning because of their district. So both fit vital roles, and both I think are essential to just the community that we enjoy here in Fairfield. So thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate those comments. Does any member of the commission have a question for regarding these comments? Well, thanks again for joining us tonight. Appreciate your input and look forward to it going forward. Prue, do we have any other members of the public that wish to speak?
I do not have any other requests for comment, no.
Okay. Well, again, I thank everyone for joining us. As was recognized by several people, it is, a very healthy crowd and encouraging that so many members of the public joined tonight, and hopefully you will continue to do so, and let your neighbors know about this and encourage them if they have ideas or thoughts or questions to reach out via the email or join us at the next public hearing. So with that, I will ask one last time if there are members of the public that wish to comment, and move forward. If not, Prue, did anybody chime in the meantime?
No, I have not had another request.
Okay, great. So the next item on the agenda is approval of the commission schedule. And I believe that has been, is that in the agenda? No. So the schedule from now through the end of the year has been outlined. I'm just looking for those dates here. One moment.
Do you want me to pull it up?
Yeah. I think I got them here, actually.
You have it?
Yeah. So just so that we are all on the same page, and please correct me, Steve, if I'm wrong. The next meeting would be October 14th, which would be a meeting with public officials. The following meeting would be, actually, Steve, if you could outline this, that'd be great.
Yes, just had to unmute myself. So the next meeting will be a meeting with department heads and appointed boards and commissions, basically appointed public officials at this point. So I'll be talking to the chair and with the administration to make sure that we get a well-attended meeting. And the intent is to hear from them on how their departments operate under the current charter and what recommendations they might have for reform. The meeting after that will be on the 28th of October. Attorney Baldwin and I will walk the commission through the charter. Again, one of the reasons I do this with the town attorney is I may have my concerns about a section of a charter, but I don't work with it day to day. And so it's really critical that we hear from the town attorney who lives with this document. This is basically his Bible, whatever his denomination may be. It's charterism. And so he and I will walk through the document to try to give you some sense of some of the issues that are structural and editorial, as well as substantive from his point of view. Sometime in November, right now it's November 9th, but I understand there may be a conflict with some other important meetings in town. The hope was that we would have the elected public officials in town, in the community, to come in and talk about the charter from their perspective. And then the level set meeting, what I call the level set meeting, where do we go from here? On the 23rd of November is when we take into account the things we've heard starting tonight through that meeting to begin to lay out the plan for the remainder of the year, including the December 9th meeting, the December 21st meeting, and then kicking into the new year with our substantive meetings on issues that the commission wants to tackle. And I think, Mr. Chairman, do you want me to talk about the comment grid
Yes,
at this
please.
moment?
Yes, please.
So one of the documents that, let me bring it up on the screen, if that's okay with everybody. Whoops, let me bring it up on my screen first of all. Let's make sure I've got the right document. Don't know if that's the right document. What are you seeing here?
Are we, pardon me, point of order, Mr. Chairman, are we going through are we setting the calendar right now or discussing it with setting the framework of what each meeting is? I just want to get clarification on what the topic is in this particular moment.
Well, I think they go hand in hand. So yeah, both is the answer, and
Okay.
but the intention is to get the dates, but to get a little more context as to what we're doing on those dates. And
Gotcha.
you know, the message grid or the it's not message, whatever the grid. What is it called, Steve?
Yeah, it's a comment grid.
Comment grid. That is
Yeah,
something
I have lost my screen completely here, so
Attorney Mednick to share with the group, and it's how he's going to.
is that on the screen? Do you see it on the screen?
No.
No. Oh, well,
So Pam, if you'll indulge us a little latitude here.
No, that's okay. I just wasn't sure. I just wanted clarification. Thank you.
Yep.
What I'm trying to do is get back onto the screen here. I've lost my ability to manipulate the share function. So let me just talk about the comment grid and see if I can get just totally lost the screen here in terms of the ability. So the comment grid will be set up chapter by chapter in the document, so that we can you can see by chapter what testimony has come before the commission and how it relates to each of the sections of the charter. And here, hold on, I found it. All right, so let me try this again. For some reason, it wasn't showing up. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Got it. You now see it?
No.
No.
Oh, yes. Yes.
All right, good. So the document, this is the Hartford Commission. Hartford's about a month ahead of where you are right now. And Hartford does, actually, somebody raised tonight the issue of a preamble. Hartford has a preamble. And the charter, this is broken down by chapter. We'll do the same thing with the Fairfield Charter. As you can see in chapter 1, there are no comments. Chapter 2, on the powers of the city, there are issues that have been raised with regard to benefits and assessments and regulatory ordinances and definitions. The election section, the same way that you can see there's a lot of comments in the election section. Chapter 4, which is the structure of the Common Council, again, another section with a lot of comments. And if you see on the page, you see these footnotes here, right? You see them? When I highlight the footnote, at the end of the document, it'll be an end note. You will see that every comment in the document will be tied to the person who testifies, either public testimony or by email or in any way they may testify. And so the idea is to be able to track it, to make sure that the public knows that we have included their views in the document. And tomorrow, once Prue and I start going through the minutes, I'll begin to develop this document for Fairfield. You're going to see again the mayor. There's a few points on the mayor, other elective offices, dealing with boards and commissions. I think you've got the idea of what goes into the document. I just wanted to show you that there will be a document that will allow you to track the charter, track the issues, and then when we get to the meeting sometime in November, you will then have the ability to really understand the breadth of the issues, the scope of the issues, where the issues are coming from, who they're coming from, and you'll be able to make priority judgments about how to tackle the issues at that point. So my commissions have found it to be a very useful document, and I hope you will too.
I appreciate that. So
sorry about the technical difficulties.
No, that's the biggest technical difficulty we have tonight. We're blessed, so thank you. Let's go through the calendar then. So what I'd like to do is go date by date and just kind of survey the commission members and see if there's any objection to the dates, and then take this matter up as a whole. So does anyone have objection to doing it that way? Okay, great. So October 14th would be our next meeting to meet with department heads and other town officials. Does any commission member have an issue with that date or conflict? Okay, so we'll leave that one going forward. The one on October 28th, I'm wondering if we could do that on that Tuesday, the 26th, but if not, I can make arrangements to be there on the 28th, but I just want to hear reaction to the 28th. I know Attorney Mendick, you've got a busy schedule too, right?
I'm clear on the 26th that the commission wants to change it to the 26th.
I'm good with the 26th as well.
Yeah, hi, this is Jay. I cannot make the 26th.
Okay.
Good with the 26th as well.
All right, we'll leave it at the 28th. Does the 28th work for everyone else?
Yes.
Yes, for me.
Okay. We'll leave it at the 28th then. Then the following, we are going to vote on this, but this is tentative. The following meeting, 11/9. I know that there's a conflict with another town meeting, and Attorney Mendick, you were going to check on some other dates for that week. Did you have availability to do that today?
I'm okay on the 9th.
But were there other public officials?
I don't know if there are any other conflicts.
There's a Board of Finance, RTM, Board of Selectmen, Capital Planning Workshop, right? John, is that right?
Yeah, I think that's the day, yeah.
What's the conflict on the 9th?
It's a very large town capital planning meeting that a bunch of people will be involved in.
Okay. How about Wednesday the 10th?
No public officials.
Yeah, I mean, what can we do? Can we do Tuesday the 7th?
Oh, I said I was fine. I thought somebody else said there was a conflict on the 7th.
November 7th is Sunday.
Wait, maybe I'm mixed up. John Matola, when's the capital planning workshop? Is it the 7th or the 9th?
Well, November 7th is a Sunday. So, and I have in my calendar a Board of Finance meeting on November 9th.
Oh, okay. All right, got it. Sorry. All right, I had, yep. I can do that Monday if that works.
The 8th?
I think I can do that Monday anyway.
The 8th works for me.
Unfortunately, this is Jay. I guess it's turning out I'm the problem child. The 8th doesn't work for me. I'm not going to be in town.
What date that week works for you, Jay?
Let's see.
Well, the problem that week is Thursday is a holiday. Veterans Day, I assume.
Right.
City Hall is closed, and then Friday night you tend not to have meetings. How about Wednesday the 10th?
Yeah, I'm looking at that. Yes, I can.
Jay, can you call in on that Monday if you're away?
No, I really can't. And actually, on the 10th, I'm going to be on a plane coming back.
Brian, can I say something?
Sure, yes, please.
So just, I'm sure some of us are going to miss meetings sometimes. And my understanding is these are being recorded, right?
Yeah.
So someone can go back and watch it if necessary?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So just,
as long as we have a quorum.
out there, just,
No,
yeah.
I was just going to say the same thing. As long as there's a quorum, right? You can have a meeting.
Yeah.
And if one individual can't make it, then we catch up by listening to the recording. All right.
Okay, so we're going to do it that Monday the 8th then, for the public officials. And then Let's see here. So the following one is November 23rd. How does the commission feel about meeting the week of Thanksgiving?
Personally, it's hard for me. I don't know what everybody else's schedule is like. I believe the RTM meets on Monday. But if it works with everybody else, then I
Keep in
might have
mind,
the same
this
issue.
will
I
be a
might be on
very,
an airplane, but that's okay.
this will be a very important meeting because this is the meeting where you're going to start to level set.
Okay,
So-
well, I won't be able to make the 23rd then.
Would there be any objection to kicking it to the next week?
That would be helpful.
Which day? I mean, I'd like to get back on the Thursday schedule, try and keep some type of regularity, but does that work for everyone, 12/2 then?
I can't do, that's my Hartford night. Remember, I have every other week. So I have a commission meeting that night in Hartford. What about the Tuesday, the 30th of
November?
How
That
does
works for me.
Me too. So, anyone else have problems with the 30th of November, or moving it to the following week, and if so, the 30th?
Yeah, I'm on another plane. Sorry.
Yeah, you're a busy man there. Are you? Let's see.
And again, this would be the which meeting is it? This is not the level set meeting.
This is the level set,
is.
so I'd like everyone to be there. So what day that week works for you? And
What if we do it a week earlier, the week before Thanksgiving? Again, I can't do the Thursday night that week. Because what I don't want to do, if we keep moving it into December,
yeah, I
and
like
I
that
have to
idea.
start planning work sessions, I'll have very little time. So I don't mind going 2 weeks in a row if we can do it the week before Thanksgiving week.
All right, let's put that to the group. November 18th, which is a Thursday.
We can't do the 18th.
Oh, of
Remember,
course
I can't
not.
do the 18th. It would have to be a different day. It would have to be a different day of the week because, again,
Okay.
Hartford's
Can we do
religious.
this?
We do it every other Thursday.
Can we do the 16th?
How does the 16th look, Jay? Are we flying that day? I hope you own a plane or something.
Okay. All right. I will make the 16th work.
Okay. Perfect.
All right.
Now that
Excellent.
Jay can make it, I don't mean to be giving
How
you a
about
hard
everybody
time.
else?
Does it work for the rest of the group? The
Well, if Jay
16th?
has a private plane, we could probably do a remote meeting from his plane.
That would be lovely.
Great. We'll be doing this somewhere warm. Okay. So the 16th will be the level set. And then, all right. Now I'm afraid to ask about December 9th. Any problems with December 9th? Going once?
Oh, hold on.
And just so you know, Brian, that would be our organizational meeting. So that would be the meeting where you nominate and vote on a chair, a vice chair, and then we would set the meeting schedule for 2022.
Oh. So my chairmanship could be limited to just a few months.
It can, but guess what? If you're not on the meeting, then that's how you get nominated.
I don't think you have to worry about that, Brian.
Yeah. Okay, so the 12/9 are good for everyone but me, so that's perfect. And then, I'm kidding, the 12/21 is the final meeting of the year, right? Which is a Tuesday.
Issue with it. This is Marlene, but again.
Hi, Marlene.
Hello.
Okay, well, do we want to talk about that? Not do it that week? Do it a different day? I don't want to do it any closer, further out in that week.
I think you should hold the date if it works for everybody else, because there's a potential that I may be able to make it right now.
Okay. All right.
Plans are.
And we'll promise to record it for you too. If not, if you
Can't wait.
There you go. All right. So to recap, and we're going to vote on this. The meeting schedule for the rest of the year as follows: October 14th, October 28th, November 8th, the Monday, November 16th, December 9th, and December 21st. Now, before we vote, one last discussion item: the time. What time are we going to start? I think really the option is 6:30 or 7, based on kind of what I've heard from individuals.
Yeah, I prefer earlier. Earlier is better. But
okay.
I'm okay with 6:30.
Okay. Does anyone have a second here? 6:30 it is then. All right, so those dates: October 14th, October 28th, November 8th, November 16th, December 9th, December 21st at 6:30. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any objections? Any opposed, rather? Any abstentions? The schedule is passed. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Oh, excuse me. Does anyone else have any comments or business to bring before the commission before we adjourn?
Brian, I'd just like to say great meeting. Thank you for chairing. Attorney Mednick, thank you for joining. And to the members of the public, thank you for participating and providing your ideas. We look forward to more of it as we continue. And to the other members of the commission as well.
Thank you, John, and thank you to the commission. It has been nice to get to begin to know you and get this off the ground, and I look forward to it. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Motion's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Have a great evening, everyone, and we will talk soon.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you all.
Hey.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.